This is the Fifth Estate, a conversation between young African scholars from the Fort Hall School of Government and Professor Mutahi Ngunyi. This Sunday, we will argue that Raila's boycott of the elections is the same as him conceding. But the tragedy is that history will not be kind to Raila. This is what our children will be taught in schools. During the year of our Lord 2017, Raila ran for the presidency for the 5th time, and he garnered a shameful 0.9% of the vote. He never recovered from this shame. Yet, Raila could have borrowed from the story of the Sultan of Persia and the 2 men that he sentenced to death. One of the sentenced men, in exchange for his release, offered to teach the Sultan's horse to fly, and he would do it within a year. Fascinated by this madness, the Sultan released the man. The second prisoner looked at his friend and exclaimed, "Are you crazy?" But the clever prisoner replied, "Instead of giving in to victim mentality, I just gave myself 4 possibilities of freedom. First, the Sultan might die within the year. Second, I might die. Third, the horse might die. And fourth, I just might teach the horse to fly. You never know."
Instead of playing victim, Raila should have told his followers that he's breeding a flying horse and that he will use it to fly them to Canaan. Such optimism would have given his Canaan followers 3 possibilities. 1. Who knows? If Raila had ran, Raila could have won. 2. Who knows? Raila could have forced a runoff. And 3. Who knows? Raila could have forced a coalition government after losing narrowly. All these were possibilities available to Raila on October 26th. But because Raila is not a positive man, his darkness led him to boycott the election. Now, he has promised to give us economic sabotage. And we know how sabotage will look like.
Vijana tidding, vijana piash, vijana tidding, vijana toa, vijana te, vijana pe, vijana piash, vijana piash, vijana tidding, vijana toa, vijana te.
We also know who his revolutionary soldiers are.
Tidding, vijana toa, vijana te, vijana pe, vijana pe, vijana tidding, vijana piash, vijana piash, vijana.
Now we will comment on something else. Raila has started a revolution, and the first item he bought for the revolution is uniform. Now the NASA brigade looks like a Sunday school choir in that uniform. Not effective. But there is one more thing. Revolutions do not happen in rain-fed economies. This is what history has taught us. And this is so because when the rains come, the rioting mobs abandon the streets and go to their farms to plant. It is that simple. And this is also why economic sabotage will not work. Since July, they say the economy has lost 200 billion a month. This translates to 7 billion a day. And if you have 8 working hours in a day, this gives you approximately 1 billion shillings an hour. For those who do not understand how much a billion is, the late John Michuki broke it down for us. If a 6-year-old boy starts counting from 1 to a billion, he will finish counting the billion at the age of 34. If we are losing 1 billion shillings an hour, the loss does not fall on the Mafuta Mingi politicians. The burden is carried by the poor.
Raila has told the NASA peasants to switch off their M-Pesa. Yet his Safaricom number is still active, and Kalonzo's number is also active. Similarly, the NASA M-Pesa pay bill is still receiving money. In fact, we did an experiment after they announced the boycott of Safaricom. We sent 2 shillings to the NASA payable as a modest contribution to the election. Then we received a message saying that the 2 shillings had been received with happiness. What does this mean? Will Raila, Kalonzo, Wetangula and Mudavadi flush their Safaricom SIM cards down the toilet? 0. Will they shut down the NASA paybill? 0. How about the NASA supporters? Can the fishmongers of Kisumu do without M-Pesa? Will they burn their M-Pesa accounts? 0. Will fanatical Kibera sacrifice M-Pesa for Baba? Nothing. After getting 0.9% votes in October, it is now clear to all that politics of Baba are nothing but a rocking chair. They keep us busy, take us nowhere. They keep Baba busy, but take him nowhere. In sum, economic sabotage will not take off. It is the work of an active and deluded mind. End of discussion.
As a young student of law, I am convinced that Raila should go to the Supreme Court. If Maraga summoned the Supreme Court on 25th October, a public holiday, in order to stop the October 26th election, he can do anything for Baba. Raila should exploit this love. But there's one more thing. If Raila goes to the Supreme Court, the judges should copy the elegance of Justice Njoki Ndung'u and not the other one.
An impregnable case on both limbs. Spectacularly IBC's contaminations.
And now I will ask a question. If on 25th October the Supreme Court could not raise quorum, what would happen if Raila files a case and there is no quorum? What would happen if one judge falls sick, the second judge gets scared because her car was shorted, the third one takes his child to school in London, and the fourth one travels to a country where there are no return flights until Christmas? If there is no quorum in the Supreme Court, the Raila case would be dismissed. But because we cannot trust Maraga, therefore, is lack of quorum the solution? I have no idea. I am just a student.
I want to confirm to the country that Raila has conceded defeat. He has fallen on his sword. It is over for him. And when history is written, it shall have the main text and the footnote. The main text shall say that Raila got a shameful 0.9% of the vote in his 5th attempt at the presidency. And then there will be a footnote which shall say that, by the way, Raila got 0.9% of the vote because he boycotted the election. The boycott will be a footnote. The main text will be that he failed. In sum, boycotting an election is not heroic. It is actually recorded in the books of history as an idea that is not clever at all. It is about the ego of the candidate and not the ends of the followers. And this is why history has nothing but contempt for those who boycott elections, in my view. But what about economic sabotage? This is another ego trip for Raila, and it will also fail. His followers will not abandon M-Pesa for his ego. Similarly, the country will not pay $1 billion an hour every single day to service Raila's ego. 0. That will also not happen. So in my view, I think it is over for Raila. But as I say, it is never over until it is over.
And now our final thought. It is an address to the gamer nation. Dear House of Mobi, you have eyes, but you cannot see. You have ears, but you do not hear. When Canon Peter Karanja of NCCK talked about constitutional change this week, you dismissed him, the way the barbarians of old dismissed the prophets. When they were given the ground truth, The barbarians of old castrated the poets and beheaded the prophets. Your reaction to Canon Peter Karanja was no different. Let me explain. Yes, the position of Prime Minister must be created. We have no choice. It is good for country. But should this position be created for Raila? The answer is zero. In fact, Canon Karanja seems to suggest that the position should be created to finish Raila. If you create it, then give it to Kalonzo instead. Raila will swallow a big potato, then spit it away. It will finish him once and for all. And as suggested by the late T.J. Mboya, the future of big tribes is only secure when they hide behind the small ones. This is what the Prime Minister's position under Kalonzo will provide for Gema.